Welcome to Matt's Investing Corner. Ever since April-May, the stock market has been steadily growing upwards. And I've seen new highs over the last couple of months in my portfolio. And obviously I'm super happy and delighted by that. But it is also a moment whereby I start to reassess my own portfolio. Do I have still the right balance? Do I have the right stocks in there to position for the next upcoming waves of what I think may be very beneficial? And exactly that's what I've done. I found a new industry whereby I will have taken already some initial positions. And I'm going to share you in this episode what this industry is, what companies I find relevant. So let's dive right in and see what they are. So I'm sure you have seen all kind of headlines like these that I'm currently showing before in the last couple of weeks or if not months. The AI boom of artificial intelligence and the usage of AI that is widely being used more and more. What does that mean? Well, more people are using it, more processing power is required, more data servers are required to run these kind of services, and this is exactly where the big tech companies are currently investing in. They want to secure that they have enough capacity for the next upcoming years. That means that they're building new plans for running all their AI chips, storing all that data, and these enormous plans require energy, and this energy is not there yet. It needs to be built, needs to be developed, and this is something that I believe there's a huge opportunity in. When I was doing the research, I came across this report from the International Energy Agency, and they had created a report which was called the World Energy Outlook Special Report about energy and AI. What I could see there is a number of things. There's a step change in the capacity of artificial intelligence, driven by falling computation cost, a surge in data availability, and technical breakthrough. In the past few years, AI has gone from an academic pursuit to an industry with trillions of dollars of market capitalization and venture capital at stake. However, there is no AI without energy. At some time, AI has a potential to transform the energy sector. Data centers around the world are having 1.5% of the world electricity consumption in 2024. That's around 415 terawatt hours. Data center electricity consumption is set to double to around 945 terawatts by 2030. So that's within 5 years. They expect that the demand for power is going to double in the next 4 or 5 years, just purely on the AI and data center electricity consumption. And this is something I believe there's a huge potential in. So in summary, the report is saying artificial intelligence is emerging as one of the most consequential technologies of the 21st century. As models have become much more capable, AI has become an industry with billions of dollars of annual investment and trillions of dollars of financial market value at stake. Among a large companies, AI adoption rates rose from slightly over 15% of firms using AI in 2020 to nearly 40% in 2024. It's now 2025, I believe must be in the range of 40 to 50%. AI is a product of extreme complex supply chains. The machine tools used to make high-end chips are among the most complex machines in existence today. The rise of AI has a huge implications of energy. AI models training and use take place in large data centers, with global investments in these facilities doubling since 2022. Hardware and software efficiencies of AI models are improving rapidly. In test conditions, we estimate that querying an AI model currently takes around 2 watt-hours of language generation, at least twice that for large reasoning models like DeepSeek, and around 25 times as much to generate a short video. The demand of AI will increase, the questions and the deeper research that will be required by AI will also multiply, and therefore the demand of energy will also continue. Basically, this report explores how much energy AI will need, and basically in the previous section I was already telling, they believe that it will double in the next coming 5 years. So I've done an analysis of energy companies, and I've done that with ChatGPT. I asked them, okay, give me the top US power generators and give me some core basic information, and I added some additional information based on news that was coming out. And let me take you through one by one. So as you can see here, these are the 10 biggest power companies of the United States. Why have I chosen the United States? Well, I believe a lot of the AI hype is happening there. The US administration is very keen that the data centers, the AI chips are all mostly being used in the United States. And obviously there's a huge audience there as well. Also, another thing that I highly find relevant is, of course, the stock market in the United States is super liquid. It's one of the most used around the world. So if you take a position in one of those power companies, you'll be for sure that it's a liquid position, and this is one of the most traded products that you will see across the world regarding energy companies. So what have I done here in this overview? What you can see is basically, if I move myself, you can see the 10 different companies, but you can see next to the 10 different companies, you can see that I entered the company name, the ticker symbol, the company value that it currently is in a there is a revenue. What kind of revenue have they done in the last TTM, so trailing 12 months? And what kind of debt position is the company in? Another thing that I found relevant to look into is what kind of investments these companies are doing. Are they positioning themselves to be able to supply the additional energy that is required? And what kind of investments are they doing? So you can see that different companies are making different investments of different amounts. And this is, of course, setting them up for certain additional revenue and additional incomes. Another thing that I wanted to capture is I wanted to see which of these companies have already made any agreements and have been public about this, that was in the news. For instance, the first one, Next Energy. They did with Google, they have an arrangement that around 860 megawatt of clean energy deal was agreed between Next Era Energy. And another one is from Duke Energy. Whereby they had agreements with Amazon, Google and Microsoft to co-design clean power tariffs of 2 gigawatts of new data center interconnectors. So and there are a number of examples in this sheet whereby I see that different energy companies are positioning themselves in order to fill in the gap of demand that is upcoming. Looking at these numbers and looking at the investments that these companies have made, I've already positioned myself. I recently, over the last couple of weeks, I started to build a position in one of the largest energy company, which was the Next Era Energy. So this is where you can see now in this screen as well that Matt has already taken a position into this stock. So I bought in a range of 71, 72 level, and I believe that's still there's huge potential for Next Era Energy to further grow. I can go in more detail in a later stage. Then there's another one that I found interesting as well is Duke Energy. I don't have a position in it yet, but I'm evaluating. I see that they're really building a pipeline. I see that in terms of revenue and company value, they're in revenue almost equal or higher even than Next Energy, but I can see that they have already with really big names some agreements upcoming. What does that tell me? Well, if it's good enough for Amazon, Microsoft or Google to work with such a company, I start to get very interested. And the same applies for Next Era Energy. If Google believes they are the right partner to build additional assets for them to supply power, that could be an interesting agreement, because this will bring a huge amount of extra revenue to these energy companies. So these are two companies that I started to already look into. But let's have a look into the companies in a more graphical way in terms of numbers. So here we can see the company value, and you can see that one of the largest in value size, largest energy companies in the United States is Next Era Energy with 214 billion of value. Whereas the others are coming at a significant difference from where they are. Quite often it's the case the biggest takes it all, and the biggest is at a certain moment gonna just consume the other smaller ones. If you look at revenue, you can see that actually on revenue side, Duke Energy is one of the largest, followed by Next Era Energy and NRG and Southern Company. Currently, I have, as I said already, a position in Next Era Energy, but I'm considering also to take a position in Duke Energy. Does that mean that I suddenly take a huge stake into in my portfolio on these companies? No, I'm taking a position of a couple percent. That means 5% of my value of my portfolio that I'm gonna focus now on energy. I believe this is upcoming, this is growing in the next coming years, and therefore I want to position myself. Obviously, I'm going to look at the charts in more detail, and when I see that the stocks are moving in a direction that I think, hey, that's relatively cheap, I may even buy some extra. So let's have a deep dive in the two companies that I've already taken a position in. Next Era Energy and NuScale. So Next Era Energy, I've been tracking already for some time. I started to look at them, and you may see a lot of different colors in this screen, but I like to do some technical analysis, even though it's very basic. What I've seen initially since April, May, is that the lows of the stock have been growing up. Basically over time, the lows have been steadily going higher and higher. Every time I try to connect the lows, I could see a certain pattern upwards. As you could see here, 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 and the same on the top. I could see that on the top that the highs were increasingly going up over time. If I connect this line with that line and that line, you can see that the highs every time are increasing. These are basically very positive signs of a very strong signal that the stock is doing well. So every time there are new highs, you could see that it was up and bounced back, up and bounced back, up and bounced back. And then again, lately it even broke that line, but it did not have enough momentum to further continue. So it went back into the lower in the same trend. And again, it bounced on the same level. When you just connect the highs, you can see that at a certain moment it's trading in a particular pattern. What I could see in the last bounce up, where it bounced basically against the ceiling, it went below the support level of what I initially draw here. And what you could see is that it basically went lower here, but it created a new trend line in my eyes. So here, if I connect the latest three lows, if you talk about this area, and here, you can see that it's still in an upward momentum. I started to buy at the lower end here, and I already bought something, I believe, in 71, and I started to buy at 70 here. So my average price is around 71. I believe this stock is ready to go to see levels of 78, 79 in the next coming months. Obviously, it needs to be seen how this is further developing, but if you look at the trend, it's upward momentum. It's And that's something I believe I have full confidence in, that this stock will do well in the next upcoming years, because simply they are positioning themselves well. They're a really big company. They start to have contracts, for instance, already with Google on the supply of big energy contracts for their data centers. Another one is the SMR. SMR is NuScale Power Corporation, and basically what I could see here from April, I started to create two trend lines, and I see an upward trend. If I basically connect the lows of here, and there, and I connect the highs, I see an upward trend going into new ranges. If I look where this company is coming from, it has not been traded before at these kind of highs, so that's already very helpful. What I can see as well is that the volume, if you see here, this is the volume, starts to increase, because the volumes on this last 4 or 5 months start to increase significantly. I see the stock going up, I see the volume increasing, and I believe this stock is ready for next new highs. It may be doing a bit of consolidation here, but I believe, as you can see, it's bouncing the whole time of this lows level here. And I believe I bought around levels of $39. And this is something that I believe will be a very interesting position for me to track in the coming months. Obviously, I set a stop loss. If it goes well below the trend line, I start to reassess. Do I want to keep this position? So I did some research and I took some actions, and I want to just wrap it up. So energy is in demand, and it's surging, especially due to the new AI revolution for data servers. Energy demand, B2B, so business to business, there are enormous contracts being signed already. The big tech players are knocking on the door of energy companies because they want to secure their security of supply of energy in the future. Energy demand in general, I believe, is further gonna increase in the upcoming years due to higher increase of consumption of households, houses that have their own batteries, houses that have their own electric cars that need to be charged, air cons, and all kind of other things that people basically use electricity on. And I believe in general the consumption will continue to increase. So globally, data centers electricity consumption has grown already 12% since 2017. And this is something that is coming from International Energy Agency Institute, and that basically backs up that this is ongoing energy demand that is continued to grow in the upcoming years. If we look at the consumption of the 1.5% of the world electricity consumption, we can see that currently the data centers are consuming a 415 terawatt hours, whereas in 2030 they believe this will easily be doubled to 945 terawatt hours. So all in all, power companies that anticipate this demand, willing to invest and agree large supply contracts with these tech companies, will have very lucrative long-term contracts. So what I start to do, I start building a portfolio of stocks that are best positioned to benefit from this AI energy surge. And I bought Next Era Energy, I bought some NuScale, and I'm tracking these companies on a regular basis. Further, I'm looking into 2 other companies, Duke Energy and Talon Energy, to potentially further diversify, that I have a couple more energy companies that I am basically betting on that they will increase in value, hopefully significantly in the next coming years. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on this analysis. Have you got already any positions on any of these energy companies? And which energy stocks do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. I'm very curious to read and to have a dialogue on that. Please leave a like, it helps the channel a lot, or subscribe if you haven't done that already. And I hope to see you on the next one, and good luck on your investments. Take care. Bye-bye.